I'm Cabot Phillips at Campus Forum. Today we're at a pro-gun rally in the state capital of Richmond, Virginia, talking to gun owners about misconceptions people have about the Second Amendment and on why the next generation should care about defending the Second Amendment. What's the message you're hoping to send today being out here?
Americans are awake and we're protecting our gun rights, and Northam needs to stop what he's doing.
This is a rally for our rights, our civil rights as American citizens.
Without the Second, they always say, you can't defend your other rights, and as they're slowly being taken away, I think it's very important for young people to not be fooled by misinformation.
Being in the most dangerous city in the state of Virginia, I feel it's important to have to make sure our gun rights are protected there more so than anywhere else.
The Second Amendment secures all the others. Do not lose this one.
Assault is an action, it's not an object. So it's not an assault rifle. That's not a thing. Assault is an action.
What are misconceptions you think people have about gun owners and about firearms in general?
Misconceptions are that all gun owners are white. Obviously, that's not the truth. There are people of all races that I've seen all day here.
What do you make of the media trying to portray the rally today as being about white supremacist groups converging?
Well, if anything, let me be evidence that fake news is real. They are definitely, they were pushing an extremely false narrative, and if anything, it felt more like they were trying to stoke the flames and instigate something to happen.
I think one big thing is that everybody tries to characterize the Second Amendment as an issue of hunting, self-defense. It's really not about any of those things, not even the individual right to self-defense. Firearms exist in this country as a counterbalance to governmental power, and owning weapons like these is a critical part of being a free American, of maintaining the other liberties that we have in the Constitution.
Most of my liberal friends, I think, have the feeling that there's just a lot of people with machine guns walking around all the time blowing people away, but the stats just show that that's not the reality. In 2018, only 8 people were killed with rifles in Virginia, and so-called assault weapons would be a subset of that, so even smaller than 8. So, more people are actually killed with blunt objects than are killed with rifles in the United States. But you don't see politicians talking about banning hammers or restricting baseball bats, right?
And what's your message to people at home watching the protest? They're not really sure what to make of this. And like people in the next generation on why they should be supportive of the Second Amendment.
History repeats itself, so you have to be very careful.
If you guys want to stay free and want to keep this country being the best country in the world, I highly suggest that you read history, read about the Nazis, read about communism. Those things happened because people allowed the government to just take their rights, and they thought the government would protect them, and all the government did was kill them at the end of the day. So if you want to maintain and be the best country in the world, you have to protect the Constitution.
I'm in charge of my own family security more than anything. I mean, if the cops are 30 minutes away from where I live, at best. So if something were to happen, this is something that we should all take responsibility of.
It's kind of ironic because I feel like the people who take the most notice of things like police brutality or censorship or crackdowns on the First Amendment tend to be people who I would say lean towards the political left, but they don't want to defend the amendment, which allows you to resist those things should they get to the point where suddenly you find yourself with no other recourse. So I would say, just because you don't think things like that could ever happen in this country, you think you may never need it, regardless of your political affiliations, you don't know, so you shouldn't just assume this is a right-left issue. There are people here today who are from every swath of the political spectrum, and, the Second Amendment applies to all of them.
Do you think gun laws are fascist at their core?
I mean, they definitely can be. The Second Amendment was designed not for just everyday defense, not for hunting, but actually to allow the people to defend themselves from a tyrannical government, whether that's our own or some other foreign power that comes in or whatever.
I served in the Marines, had brothers and sisters that didn't come home defending these rights, and me being out here is more representative of them, because I feel like what they're doing is basically spitting on every man and woman in uniform that sacrifice everything.
Oh, well, hello there. I'm Cabot Phillips with Campus Reform. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to join our team, we're always looking for new investigators, correspondents, and tipsters. Click right here to learn more about that. If you want to donate to help us make more videos like the one you just saw, click that button there. And if you want to be among the first person to see all of our new content, click that subscribe button right over there. Thanks so much. Hey, I didn't hear you click anything. Did they click one yet?